Hi everybody, this is Megan Maxwell. I'm the education coordinator for the 1897 Poe House. I know everybody's stuck at home, so a few of us actually are still coming to work, and today I have my girls with me. This is Kate, and you are
9.
And this is Charlotte, and you are
5.
So they're going to help us do kind of a little virtual tour of one of the rooms in the Poe House. And I think what I'm going to do is post one room throughout this week and maybe next week. As long as we're still able to come to work, we'll be posting these videos of the different rooms in the Poe House. So today we're actually going to start with the parlor. And for those of you that don't know, this is the 1897 Poe House. It was the home of E.A. Poe and his family. And what we interpret here is from the years about 1897 when the house was built until about 1917. So what you see in the house is the way people lived back during that time period. So if you guys are ready, we're going to head on in and we're going to talk a little bit about the parlor. And the Poe House is always a little bit dark. But it's even more dark today because it's overcast outside. So I did change out the light bulbs in this room to some modern light bulbs, so you actually will be able to get a better look of the parlor since we're doing this on cell phone video. A few of the things that people find interesting in the parlor are some of the musical pieces. So one of the things people notice when they walk in here is this piece here, and this is the Victrola. It was made by the Victor Talking Machine Company, and this one dates to about 1906. And I was going to wind it up and play it for you guys, but unfortunately it's not working that well right now. I will show you the record here. So this is a 78 RPM record. That's what you play on these Victrolas. And for the kids, a lot of you might be interested, or you would know about CDs. This is kind of a bigger CD. So records, and this is actually a very early record that you could play on this Victrola, and unfortunately we can't play it today, but maybe I'll be able to get that up and running in the future. One of the reasons I'm having my girls help me out is because they can kind of give you a kid's eye view of the parlor. So what I'm going to do is kind of ask them what they think is interesting in here. And we'll see if we can answer some questions. What do you guys want to talk about in the parlor? Charlotte?
Well, I think that these pictures are really pretty, and the candle holders that are holding the candles are so pretty because it's pink and there's little silver things that are hanging.
Right. Let's see if Miss Lisa can get a shot of the candle holders that you're talking about. Those are very pretty, and those are antique, and they would be probably on someone's mantle in their house, just like these are here. And you talked a lot about the pictures. We have a lot of family pictures of the Poe family in here. So do you guys remember who this is in this picture?
That's Poe.
E.A. Poe and Mrs. Poe, and then all 8 of their children. So this is the family that lived here in this house. They had 6 daughters and 2 sons. And this is Lily Poe on the end. And she lived here from the time the house was built in 1897 until she died in 1988, and she was 95 years old. And she's the one that actually sold the house to the state. So that's how we have the Poe House as part of our museum complex today. Do you have a question?
I think this looks really pretty. And it kind of looks like a lamp except for that little thing.
Right, so this is an old lamp or a kerosene lamp, and this one looks a little bit different than some of the other ones you would see in the house because it has this really pretty glass shade, and it almost looks like a vase on the base, but they would have lamps in the house for extra lighting. Kate, did you have a question about something? Not yet? Go ahead, Charlotte.
I think that clock on the painting looks really pretty, and I don't know why they made that out of hair.
Oh, you want to talk about the hair wreath over here? let's see, when we shined a light on it earlier, it didn't show up too good, but we'll see if we can get a good view of the hair wreath. So this is a kind of a strange piece. This is made of human hair, and it was made by, let's see, I have it written down over here. Her name was Christiana Doverspike Kells, and she made this around 1911 out of different pieces of hair from her family members. So if you look on this side, the hair's a lot lighter, blonde, and on this side, it's a little bit darker. So those are the two sides of her family there. And this family was originally from Mecklenburg County, Virginia, but then they moved here to Fayetteville. So they donated this piece for the Poe House. Yes, Charlotte?
I think this fireplace looks really interesting. I just don't know why it's not made. I just don't know why you didn't make it as real fire.
As a real fire? Well, the reason we can't have a real fire in the fireplaces is because this is a house museum. So these chimneys are all blocked off, but when the Poe family lived here, you'll notice there's a fireplace in every single room because they didn't have heat or air conditioning like what we have today. They had to use their fireplaces. And these are coal-burning fireplaces. So what I did is kind of make some, back up just a little bit, some pretend coals to go in there. And those are actually orange, like Halloween lights. But if it was real coals, you could sit here and toast your hands and get all nice and warm and cozy. Right?
What is that?
So this piece here is called a summer front. So in the summertime, you didn't need the fireplaces going because it would be nice and warm anyway. So they put this over the front of the fireplace to block it off so you don't get drafts and dust and dirt and even birds or whatever might come down into your house. So the summer front goes on the fireplaces as a decorative piece when they're not being used. Yes?
Are those flowers real?
No, the flowers aren't real. Because this is a house museum, we have to put fake flowers in here. Because if you put live plants, you might bring in bugs and things like that. And you don't want the pests to get on our artifacts.
And I think the piano looks so interesting. I just don't know how they built it.
How they builded it? So this piano did actually belong to the Poe family. So this was in here when they lived here, and the children took music lessons and could play this piano. This dates to about 1910, and it's a pretty fancy piano, and you can see the intricate carvings and things like that. It doesn't work anymore. That's why we have it closed so you can't see the keys. It needs a real good tune-up, and it would need to be refurbished in order for us to use it. Kate, do you have a question?
Yes. Who is that?
Who is that? So that is a bust of Beethoven. And sometimes wealthier families like the Poes would have statues and pieces of art about classical composers like Beethoven in their house. So that's why we have him in here. And he actually did belong to the Poe family. All right. Yes, Charlotte?
How come we can't use that ukulele? Like a violin.
So, what is this, Kate?
A violin.
It's a violin, and it is an antique violin. It's not in very good shape, so you can't actually play it. But back then, all the children, you guys take music lessons, right? What instruments do you take?
I did piano, and I think I'm going to decide to do guitar.
Okay, so piano, and you play what?
A ukulele.
And the piano, right? So back then, all the Poe children also took music lessons. So that was a fun way for them to entertain themselves. Like, we're stuck in our houses. You guys are lucky because you get to come to the museum with Mommy a couple days a week. But most people are stuck at home. So the Poe family would entertain themselves playing music on their piano or their other instruments that they had at home, or listening to music on the Victrola, right?
Why do those pieces of furniture all have tape and ribbon?
That is a question we always get when we have tours in the Poe House. So the ribbons that you see on the furniture when you come on a Poe House tour is just to remind people not to sit on the furniture because it's very old, right? All right, can you do one more question, Charlotte? What do you see?
I see those things that look really pretty. I just think, why are there not two of those and they're not the same? Why are
They're not the same. Yeah, that's not a pair. And you're right, usually things would come in a pair or a set. If they put it on the mantle, you would have one at each side, like up top. You see the urns we have up top? And these vases just came in a separate collection, so they don't match, but they're pretty, and so we put them in the parlor. Does that make sense?
Uh-huh.
All right. All right, one more.
I just don't know what's going on with this thing.
Well, we talked about the Victrola earlier. Okay? All right. You guys want to tell everybody bye and say thanks for watching?